So we'll start with basically talking about styles. Now, about 50% of people in this room have used styles before. If you haven't, you might be wondering what a style is. You might think, well, I've got a personal style, and you can actually relate it a little bit like that. It is basically what your document is going to look like. And that's in terms of headings, in terms of space, between words, so spacings and things like that. So it is a style is basically a set of predefined formatting instructions. Now, if you have looked at Word, you might actually think, well, if I look at a style here, so I'll just point at one here, heading 1, you might think, well, okay, that's heading 1 style, but I don't like the way it looks. Don't worry about that at all, because you can make it look any way you want. So, and what it will then do is apply the formatting, the formatting that you have applied to your particular style. It can do that in one easy step. What that means is that your document will look consistent. It will be easier to modify. So if you start out using styles, it will be easier to modify later on. It will become more efficient. You will then be able to use a lot of the automatic features of Word, like creating a table of contents, navigating around your document, creating cross-references. All this will become more automatic because you've used styles. That's why we start this session talking to you about styles, and we cannot stress highly enough that you use styles. Once you've used styles, the numbering will become a lot easier. Can you see the numbering here? That's actually quite hard to create if you had not used styles. So again, we'll show you that. All right, I've got a sample thesis here that I'm going to work on today. And as you can see, some of the styles are already applied here. But let's just... so Helen and I both teach this quite a lot, and we like to control Microsoft, right? We don't want to be controlled by it. And you might find that a lot of things that Microsoft wants to do for you, okay? But we really like to tell you about how you can do it yourself and you understand what's going on. So the first thing that you may notice up here is that you've got a whole bunch of styles, but really that is not the complete list. That is only what Word has decided to show you. So if I click on this tiny little thing here, which is a dialog box launcher, I'll get this little window, and I'll just actually drag it to the right hand side, so dot, and this now shows me a lot more styles to choose from. Now I'll just scroll down a little bit in my document. If I select this part of the heading here, if I want to, this mouse is really not very good, if I want to change the way that looks, I could go over here and go bold and underline, and I could increase the size, and I could do all sorts of things. But that's just hard work, isn't it? Because you're going to have to do that there. If that heading appears 50 times in your document, you're going to have to do that 50 times. Now, some of you may know about this wonderful thing called Format Painter, which makes it a little bit easier. But in actual fact, that is still hard work. So if you want to actually apply style, what you're much better off doing, and I'm just going to clear the style. Now this little thing here is one of my favourite little tools. That's the little tip, a little hint here. It's called clear formatting. What's really good about this is it gets rid of any old rubbish that might be there. Now, I'm telling you this because I know that sometimes you might copy text from other documents, or even maybe an internet site, to quote someone else. And you might want to get rid of whatever rubbish they've put in their formatting. Yeah, so this clears it all up. So what I did just then will get all cleared up, and I'll just click that and it's gone. Okay, and then, and trust me, this is a really good thing to do if you're having trouble with anything in your document. Just clear it of its formatting. That means it gets all cleaned up, and now you can apply the style that you want. So if I wanted that to be a heading 2 style, I can just select it, and now it's a heading 2 style. And if I do that, the same thing to the next heading, and I click heading 2, then you can see it's formatted in exactly the same way. If I just hover my mouse over that, heading 2, I can see a whole list of items that are available there, as in the whole list of things that are actually associated with this particular style. But another really excellent thing I can do, if I click on this drop down arrow here, I can actually select, which it says no data, which is rubbish, but if I select all, you'll see that if I scroll through my document, everywhere where there's heading 2, it has it selected. There must be somewhere else. There you go. There's another one. Right? How convenient is that? Because if I decided that I wanted heading 2 to no longer be heading 2 but heading 3, I can simply click on that and it turns all of them into heading 3. Now you might be wondering, why is she using this thing called heading style? Okay, I can't. First of all, having told you about styles, it's really important to use the heading styles. The heading styles are related to all the automatic features. So for example, if you wanted to create a table of contents, then it's actually using whatever you have selected as heading style 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in your document. Now it doesn't mean you have to use up until heading 9, but if you use these, they will be added to the table of contents automatically if you want them to. So that's why using these styles is really, really important. Even if you don't like what they look like, just use them. Okay, I'm going to show you in just a second how you can change what they look like. Now you might notice over here that only 5 heading styles are actually showing. To show every single style that's available in Word, you actually have to, and this is really annoying because Word, see, this is what I mean, and Word says, I will just show you this amount. But over here on the right hand side at the bottom in options, I can actually say, look, actually I want to see all styles. Yeah, all styles. You'll get a lot more. And select how they are sorted. I always say alphabetical because I just think, who recommends it? Was it Bill Gates that recommended that they should be sorted in a certain order? I don't really understand that. So for me, I go all styles and alphabetical, and now you'll see this list suddenly became a lot larger. Now you're going to have quite a choice, and you will be able to, and as you can see now I've got all the way up to level 9 in here, so I can use that in my document. Okay, I'm going to just show you again a couple of times to change something into a different, I should use my shortcut keys. So if I was here to apply a style, I simply click on it. But like I said already, you may not like the way it looks, so let's have a look at how we can change it. Now there's always multiple ways to do things in Word, but I'm going to show you the best way, of course. So if we go to heading 2 and I click on this little downwards arrow here or right click, I can then choose this thing called modify. And actually before I do that, I'll make sure that that one is heading 2 as well, so that you can see how exciting this is. According to Helen, this is a wow moment, so I'm expecting wow to happen. So when we look here, and so one of the things I don't like about the Word styles is that they're blue, okay? There's no way that you will want blue in your thesis document. So I can simply go here on colour and choose to make it black. I can also decide that I do not want to use Cambria. I actually want to use, say, Arial or maybe Times New Roman as my font, yeah? So I've done that, I've made those changes, and maybe I'll make it size 14. So I'm making a whole bunch of changes in one go. And when I click OK, you'll be impressed. It has changed both of those. Excellent. Helen will be very happy about that. So if I scroll down here, you'll see, look, I'll do it another method. That is my favourite method because it gives you all the controls. This is another method, so I'll show you. This one here is heading 3 style, okay? I have selected the whole text and I can change it, of course. No, I wouldn't make it. I'll make it that, and I'll make it Times New Roman. And I might make it underlined. I'm just doing something a little bit different so that you can really see the difference. So this time I've made the changes there. Now what's happened here is that that is not a genuine heading 3 style anymore. It's actually been altered. So what I actually want to say is make heading 3 look like what I've got here now. So again, by clicking on this little downward arrows, I've got this option here that says update heading 3 to match selection. Match selection means what I have selected. What have I got selected? These words here. So update heading 2. Did you see that one change? Isn't that cool? Now that doesn't look impressive on one page. It's very impressive on 250 pages with 50 headings. Yeah. So if you hadn't used heading styles before, if all you took away today is using styles, then I'll be very happy. Okay, so there's one thing that I haven't quite told you yet, and when I go into a heading, you'll notice here that there are funny looking symbols. Can you see these here? There's, it's a bit hard to point at them with your mouse when, things appear. But one looks, sorry?
Hover over the scroll bar on the very right-hand side.
Ah, yes, excellent. So if I look at this one here, can you see that has a little A? And this one here, can you see that there? That's got a little sort of backwards P, which is actually a paragraph mark. The one thing that some of you may have already noticed is that when I actually wanted to make a change to something, I just put my cursor in it. I did not highlight the whole lot, did I? I mean, I could have, but I didn't. If I want to change this to a different heading, so I imagine I change this to heading 3, yeah, then I just had my cursor in there. What that means is it's going to apply that whole style to the whole paragraph. Now, if you don't know what a paragraph is, in Word, and I'll just turn the paragraph marks on, in Word, this is a paragraph, yeah? Every time you press Enter, it's a paragraph. So if I press Enter here and type something, that's a paragraph, yeah? So the information about what this looks like, is contained within the paragraph. So all it means that if I use one like this, which is all paragraph here, it's a paragraph style, if I use that, it means that it's going to apply to everything in the paragraph. So what do you think would happen if I put my cursor there and then chose heading 1? Everything would change. That's right, look at that. Everything changes to heading 1. That's ridiculous, but that's exactly what it's doing. Now, the other one that we have, and I might make this one back to heading 1. The other one that we have is the character style, and I'll use one called emphasis, which is just the one just there. So if I choose some characters and I click emphasis, can you see how I just did it to the characters? Didn't do it to the whole paragraph. The paragraph, in actual fact, is still a style called normal. Can you see that up here? Is it all making sense? Hopefully it is. All right, so we've got heading styles here. I'll just show you another cool thing about styles, about changing styles. Imagine this particular paragraph is a quote. All I have to do to change it into quote is by going down here and choosing quote. But maybe I look at that and go, I don't like it. So this is just the repetition of what we did before, but I did it with heading styles. Now I'm doing it with another one called quote. And I'll just turn the ruler on. Say I want this indented here, and I want it also indented on the right hand side, and maybe I want it justified, and perhaps I want some more spacing. Yeah? So imagine that's what I want my quotes to look like. What I can do now is what I did before, so this is just a repetition, update quote to match selection. Now I've got a quote the way I want it to look like. I can use it again and again in my document to have it always look the same, always identical. It's really important, isn't it? That's what creates your consistency. It's going to make it so much easier for you, but you do have to spend a little bit of time. Now, in this long list, you will see that there are lots and lots of different things that you could choose, knowing that you always should use heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But you can also use, obviously, I've got a quote there. There's a couple other ones. There's one up the top here called appendix. All sorts. Sometimes, though, you may find there's not one there that meets your need. Now, if you only ever have to do some formatting once in your document, don't worry about creating a style. Okay, that's a bit pointless creating a style for one thing, like your title page. You might format that. That's it. You don't need to use that particular style over and over. But there might be something that you will use over and over. In that case, and you can't find anything that matches here on the list, in that case you may wish to create your own style. And that's really easy too. So I have an example here of someone who came to me and they said, I want to create a style for all the translations that I do in my documents. So they were doing a lot of translations. So essentially, and again you can do this any which way you like, but I'll just pick some text here. You go along and you format that text in the way you want to have it formatted. Just going to make a few changes here. I might have it justified again, and I don't know, maybe smaller. Yeah. So imagine this is what the translation is going to look like, and I do not have anywhere. I don't have a style called translation. So in this case, I'm going to create one from scratch. Now there is obviously many ways to do this, just like there is with other things, but this is again the best way, which is this little button here with the sunshine on it. Can you see that? It's called New Style. So if I click on that, it actually allows me to set up all the options. Remember when we went to modify and we saw the same box? Now I can set up all my options here as well. So first of all, I'm going to call my style translation. Yeah? The second thing, the style type. Remember how I spent time telling you that some styles are paragraph styles and some styles are character styles? You can decide which one is which, but if you can't decide, just make it both. It can be used in either or method. Notice here that it says the style is based on normal. Okay, so that means that when I started off changing all the things here, it was actually normal style. And I'm going to tell you about normal style a little bit more after I create this one, because it's important to know. The style following the paragraph is translation in this case. Now you may not want it to be translation. You might want it to go back to normal, or you might want it to go back to body text. So I'm going to actually choose body text because I'm going to use this in a little bit. I'm going to use body text so you can see what I mean. I can make any further changes that I want to. For example, I can go to format here and say, look, I want some more spacing before this. I want this to be double line spaced. Just making some things up. And click OK. And so there is my new style. There it is sitting over there. Now, what do you think will happen if I press enter? Will it go to my translation style, or will it go to my body text style? Who's for body text? And you would be correct. And you can see that I'm body text if I scroll all the way up here, because it's alphabetical, remember? I can do that. If it wasn't alphabetical, I wouldn't know where it was. But there it is. You see body text there? Yeah? Isn't that cool? It's the same reason that if I'm in a heading 2 and I press enter, I don't get another heading 2. I just get normal. So I can change that to whatever I want it to be. Now, I am going to tell you about normal, because, normal is the default setting for Word. So it's something that you need to know about. So if I opened a brand new document, let me just do that. If I open a new document and I started typing, actually I don't even have to start typing, because right at the top here you can see that this is normal style. So that's always the default style used for every document. I'll just close that one. Now, we have in the past, especially with upgrades of Word, have found that sometimes normal can be problematic. Because even though, as you could see, I can change the style in any which way I want, yeah? I can make it look whichever way I want. I don't have to keep it looking, what's this one, Calibri 11 or anything like that. I can change it. What we found is that sometimes, because normal is so normal, it is so prolific, that sometimes with different versions of Word normal can cause a problem. So for that reason, we often recommend that you use body text instead. So now I'm going to show you a really cool thing, because you might go, oh my God, my whole document is written in normal, everything that I've written already, how on earth am I going to change that to body text? Well, it is so easy when you use styles, isn't it? Here's our style, here's normal. If I select that, see how I've got there, select all 134 instances? Now try going through your document and scrolling and selecting and scrolling and selecting. That would be mad, yeah? So I choose that, And then I scroll all the way up to my body text and I go click. And it's done. Now all these, every paragraph in my document is body text. See, if I click in the paragraph, body text. It hasn't done it to my heading styles because that wasn't normal anymore, that was heading style. Does that make sense? I think that's pretty wow. But you know. Okay, Helen does this in a different way. She does find and replace, which is really cool too. You can use find and replace. Well, I might show you later how to do that. You can do that as well. So, just checking what I'm missing. Don't breathe into the mic. Yes. Now, if you have used styles in your document and you've decided that you want to actually get rid of that. So say, for example, my translation style here, actually that I don't want to use that anymore, that's no good, I just want to get rid of the whole thing. Right? I can certainly do that, and I can do that by deleting it, but I can only do that to styles that I've created. So you cannot delete styles that you have not created. So that means all the other styles that are in here that we can see, all the heading 1, 2, 3 and all those ones, these ones, we cannot delete those. But we can certainly do this, select all 7 instances and use my clear formatting button to get rid of that style for that particular thing. Yes? All good? I can do it now, just to impress you. Doesn't really impress you. Yes?
Does it go back to normal?
It will go back to normal, yes. Clear formatting will go back to normal. So if I click in here, you should see that that's normal. Yeah. And that's what everything's based on. That's the reason. You can certainly change normal if you really wanted to. So you can go here. Now, this is one thing to remember. So if I go to normal here, I can do exactly the same thing as any other style, and now I can make it look the way I want to make it look. So you can certainly do that if that suits you better than body text. Body text is just handy to know about.
Is there a way to make it go back to body text instead of normal?
Instead of normal?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do what I just did in one go. You can either do what I just did here, which is basically, hold on, let me do it again. So
you clear formatting.
You can clear formatting, but once you've cleared formatting, so it will, which is what I did. Sorry, I'm just looking for normal, which if I knew my alphabet, I would actually find it. There we go. What I did was this: select all the instances and then choose body text from the list. Another way to do it is find and replace. You can actually see how this, normally you probably have used this before to find words and things. If you click the more, there's actually formats that you can find. So I can go down here to format and I can choose a style and I can say find me everywhere where it's body text and change it to everywhere that's normal. Oops. Yeah, so that's another way. And you don't have to type any text in there for that to happen, to go through your document. So if I did that now, I would do the whole document, which I won't do. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.